Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hmm.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
You're not. You're. It's evening for you, isn't it? Where are you?
Oh yeah, it's 11 p.m.
Really? Why?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
we are going to finish after midnight. That's kind of cool.
Well, I mean, we don't have to. We could go 35 minutes
Yeah.
in advance. Um.
Well, no, actually, I'm not an early bird, so that's
Okay.
totally fine.
I
Yeah,
am not an early bird myself. Um. Oh, so I'm really excited. We were supposed to talk last year, but then my amazing friend Deshaun, he is smarter than I am, and so he already got you on the show. So, well, a different show, but same channel. So I was like, well, maybe we should. We'll
yeah.
just delay a little bit so there's some spacing, and
Yeah.
but just great minds think alike is what that shows, right? Um,
Yeah, right. And so that people just don't get sick and tired of seeing my face all
no,
over Springwood channel.
no. Well, okay, speaking of, I mean, who are you? Can you introduce yourself so that I don't screw it up? Can you?
Right. Yeah, so my name is Catherine Edelveis, and I'm a developer advocate at Bellsoft. And if my voice sounds a little bit weird, I'm really sorry for that because I recently had a flu, so I might sound like a very old French woman talking through her nose.
Are
Yeah.
you French or like?
No, no, I'm from Kazakhstan, but
Oh, cool.
yeah, so I was an interpreter and translator earlier, and after that, I just went down the steep path of software development.
Wow, I've never been to Kazakhstan.
That's
Wow.
far. That's far away.
Well, I've been all around it. I've been to Russia, China, to Ukraine. I've been to lots of. I'm embarrassed, and it's
Oh,
huge.
so you've been all around Kazakhstan.
Yeah, what's wrong with me? I have to go there. I've been to
You
Turkey,
really
which is
should.
nearby. I've been to yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you should. It's very beautiful here.
it looks it's like a very big country too. So there's a lot to explore. Oh,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
life is this is the problem. There's only so much time, and no matter how hard I try, there's always some nice place to visit that I have not yet visited. Um,
that's great. I think that's great.
well, okay, so I'm really sorry to keep you up so late. But look, the exciting Java community never sleeps, is what I like to say. There's always somebody to talk to in the world.
Exactly.
No matter what time zone you're in, there's somebody awake somewhere else. You know. And so you are this incredible. You've been doing these incredible videos on the Bellsoft YouTube channel,
Yeah.
which are like I've put them in this week in spring. My
Oh,
weekly
you.
list. I've put
Yeah.
several of them in there because they're very good. Um,
Thanks. Well,
no, thank you. You do two things, which I mean, you do many things, but there are two in particular that I want to focus on that I really appreciate. One is the videos are about Java, but you show them in terms of some concept applied with Spring, right? So that it
yeah,
can be relatable to people. Because
yeah.
I love Java, but Java by itself is sort of mm,
Well, it just hangs in the air, right?
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how to apply it. Um, so and you work at Bellsoft. What does Bellsoft do? I mean, you mentioned uh,
Yeah. So Bellsoft is an open GDK contributor and provider. So we develop and support a Liberica JDK. And by the way, Liberica JDK, if somebody who listens to us doesn't know, is recommended by Spring.
it's true.
So,
We
yeah.
are partners in a sense,
Yeah.
companies. Um,
Yeah.
it's a very and Liberica is like one of the reasons I like them is because it has everything in one place. So I like Project Crack, right, for
Yeah.
really fast
Yeah.
startup. That's
Mhm.
in Liberica. I also like GraalVM. That's also in Liberica, right? Like you can get all these things in one distribution, and they always bring the cool stuff. Really, really.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I love working for Bellsoft, and that's why I have decided to work for Bellsoft because they stay in touch with the community and they update right the product line when something really relevant comes out, really important. So like we don't only provide Liberica JDK, there is also Liberica Native Image Kit, right, which is based on JVM. And there are different flavors of Liberica JDK. So there's one with bundled with JavaFX.
Right.
If you're developing desktop applications.
I used that in a video. I actually used that for a demo in one of my videos.
Yeah. So I've been interested in JavaFX recently. So, and I'm writing a guide right now. And yeah, it's very convenient. So you don't have to set up the project manually by adding the dependency on JavaFX project. You just download Liberica JDK and everything works out of the box.
Yeah. It is super convenient. And even better, you can do. I'm not sure. I'm sure you can do with JavaFX. I don't know if I tried that, but I tried with Swing, and that works. I can create a Graalvm native image with Swing.
Yeah.
With an NIK, the Liberica NIK, and
Yeah, and there's also just like I said, there are different flavors with Liberica. So there's a bundle with Crack, right? So there's Coordinated Restore Checkpoint. It's just amazing project that was open sourced. And so if you get Liberica with Crack, which sounds like Crack sounds, I mean, it's a thing for jokes. Really, it's, you have to be really, really careful, right?
Yeah.
With this one.
Project Crack, I like to say, it makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, and we also have Alpaquita Linux, right? So this is a very small Linux distribution, tailor-made for Java, actually. So this is because there are tools for Java development. There's always the latest version of Liberica JDK in the repository. There is native image kit package in the repository, right? And it just works, right? So and you can get a container with Liberica JDK and Alpaquita, and it's really, really small.
Right.
I mean, yeah. And I recently did a video like Dockerize Spring Boot wisely, right? And there's several tips that I gathered, judging by my experience with containers and what I hear and see around. And so by just switching the base image of your container, right, you can save like a lot of space just by switching the base image, and that's important, right? And
because what most apps need is Java. They don't need the rest of the Linux. They don't need full Ubuntu, you know?
Exactly right. Of course, there is distroless, so you can try with that. But again, Alpaquita is really small. I mean, it's like Alpine, so it doesn't take much, but you don't have those problems that might go with distroless. I like that. Yeah. So
I'm gonna find the. What's the name of the Linux distro there?
Alpaquita Linux. So I can send you the link.
Alpaquita. Oh, you're right. It is just that was a interesting word for me. I have to. Okay, I'm gonna put that there.
Yeah, and we also have so as I said, containers, and there are special containers for Spring Boot.
Huh?
So
really?
Because they contain what I said, right? So the Java development tools, and plus they enable you to cut the RAM and disk space used by your containers, by Spring Boot containers, just by switching to this base image. And you can also use it as a build pack, this container, right? So, and we love build packs.
I love build packs so much.
Yes, build packs are just one love forever. So, and you can use that also as a build pack. So,
you are such a good guest. You sent me the links in the private chat. All I've got to do is present them just like I was prepared. Sure, that's what happened. Look at that. That was me. She didn't help at all. That's this is okay. So Alpaquita containers for Spring Boot apps. I want to learn to I want to pronounce the technology as much as I want to use it. That's amazing. Okay, so clearly you all are doing a great job of meeting the Java community, because it's right now we have a wonderful Java community, but the problem is that maybe we have too much of a blessing. We have too many different distro vendors. I mean, if anybody who is watching has ever used SDK Manager, right? SDKman
Mhm.
.io, I think.
Yeah.
If you ever use that, do SDK list Java. There's like 40 different distributions, and most of them are the same, except that some of them have Project Crack, some have GraalVM, some have some knobs and levers you can use to get better performance in certain contexts. And I want most of that in one place,
Yeah, and Liberica, that's what you get, right? So there's one runtime for all your purposes, right? There's bundle with FX, with Crack, with CDS, you name it, right? So there's light flavor for containers, which is smaller, right, than the usual standard JDK. And so with Liberica, you can have this flexibility, right? You don't have to switch between runtimes. This provider provides a fix. Okay, this one has built with Crack. This one provides native image. Well, it's better when you have everything in one place, right? So.
Yeah, like also, I think Liberica, aren't you providing the support officially? Like for, I think we have a joint thing where if you buy support from us, we in turn partner with Liberica for all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. So that's the company, that's the good stuff. Let's talk about you a little bit, if you don't mind. First of all,
sure.
where are you going to be? Where can people learn from you in person? Like are you going to be at DevNexus or Spring One or Spring IO or Java One or?
Right. So I rarely leave Kazakhstan. So mainly I'm at home, and I can do some virtual jukes, right? So Java user groups or some virtual conferences. But I'm definitely coming to Spring IO. So
yes.
I want to meet everybody. I want to meet you. I want to meet Dashawn. I want to meet Dan. I mean, I want to say hi to. That's so in person. That's so important.
It's going to be great for us. Have you been to Barcelona before?
Oh, maybe like 20 years ago. Gosh, I'm old.
No, you're not.
20 years ago. As a child, so I don't remember anything. But they say it's a beautiful city. So.
Well, yeah, it is. I'm sure. I have not been to Kazakhstan, so I don't know. And I think you should start a conference there and then invite me to come speak there.
Okay.
But after Kazakhstan, I think Barcelona is one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, one of the most beautiful places in Europe. Yeah, and it's, even if it was ugly, it's not, by the way, it's beautiful. But even if it was ugly, it's still springtime, warm weather. People are starting to. It has been cold for months, and by the time Spring IO arrives, it's warm, and people are starting to come out and wear T-shirts and walk around, and the nightlife fun. Okay, so we'll all see you there. That's going to be a very, very extra special show. Can I ask you, like, so why? What got you into software? Like, I always wonder why really, really smart people do these things. You could obviously, you're very smart. I've seen your videos. I know you're a better hacker engineer than I am, for example. Like, why would you do software instead of like becoming a billionaire, doctor, scientist, physicist, rocket scientist? I don't know, whatever, all those things combined.
That's actually a very good question, Josh, because I don't have an engineering background, right? So I studied linguistics, and
what kind of language do you speak? Do you speak other language?
So English, German, Italian, and Spanish. So
okay. That explains when I look at your profile on the Twitter.
That's why all those languages are listed there, right? So
fantastic, nice.
So I have been working as an interpreter, as a simultaneous interpreter. Right, so that's kind of people that you have the United Nations General Assembly that sits somewhere there, invisible, and translate all those speeches to people attending.
You did that?
Yeah. That's super. I mean, that's super cool. It's like it's very. I don't even know how to describe it, because it's the text flowing at you, right? The speech into one ear, and you simultaneously translate it right?
Yeah.
Just like with the maybe a minute delay or 30 seconds delay, and that's not something that you can explain. That's it's like you're somewhere in some outer space and only the speech and you exist, and yeah.
I I speak a few other languages, but I'm pretty. My French is my best. I could do a talk in French
Ooh,
with
cool.
comfort, but even there, if I was listening to somebody speak about the state of a nation or something like this, and the whole world was listening, I wouldn't want my French to be the only thing between that speaker and the rest of the world's comprehension of what was said. You know, is there like a backup? What if you don't know a word or something? I mean, does that ever happen? Oh, that scares me.
um
Ugh.
well, yeah, sometimes sometimes it happens, and usually as a rule there are two interpreters in the room,
Okay, good.
and your partner, if he or she sees that there's something wrong with you, that
Yeah.
you just didn't catch up, they may help you, so write something on the paper, on the piece of paper. Of course, sometimes one sentence may slip,
Yeah.
sometimes you forget words. Some well, yeah, stuff happens, but you still manage to try and find a way out of the situation, because show must go on, and
Sure.
you
Yeah.
should never
Like,
be silent. You
wow,
know what? Yeah.
that is super cool. That is super super cool. Wow. So can you let me see. I don't know that kind of work. How do you like? How do you start? How do you say one day I want to translate somebody's German or something?
It all started with me just liking books. I mean, I loved reading books. I didn't
I can
care
see your
about
bookshelf.
anything else in the world. Yeah, so and that's just a few of them, few of my favorites. Others are in the library. So and I didn't actually want to do anything. I read books, and then I started learning languages, and I thought, oh my god, how cool! Now I can now read books in other languages. Yeah, and
Cheat code unlocked. I love this. Oh, it's so great.
right, and that's just one after the other, and then you go to the university. You have to think about your career, what you want to do, and yeah, interpreting and translating sounds like a good deal. So you read a book, then you can translate a book, and that's kind of like that. But translating literature is in Kazakhstan, it's not really well paid, so it's kind of a dream that stays somewhere in your childhood. So you do some practical things like doing these
That's so
simultaneous
sad.
translation.
To be fair, though, I find that in America we don't really pay very well for smart work. Sometimes, I mean, like software is the exception, but teachers and I imagine translators are. I don't know, but I imagine we don't treat them very well here either. Sadly, very sadly, obviously. But
Yeah, I actually think that teachers and doctors should be the most well paid professions, because they're most important, I think.
I
I'm very
no,
biased,
no. So in America, the doctors, because of the if you are a doctor long enough, because of our broken healthcare system, you can make a lot of money here. But it takes
but
10, 15 years to get to the point where you're making zero, and then the
hmm
next 15 years you make a lot, right? If
hmm
you're doing private practice. But teachers, we treat them like nothing. It's just terrible how we treat teachers here. Just we don't have a lot of teachers also because we don't pay very well at all, and
Yeah.
people don't go into the system wanting to become teachers, and so then you get now we're in a situation where lots of states are hiring people who aren't even trained as teachers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Degree or something. I mean, just anyway. I don't mean to. I'm just saying, smart people deserve better, especially the
Yeah.
doctors and
Totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah. Right.
so that's amazing. So you went to university for language, and you were using computers at this point, or like why? How did you?
Yeah.
Oh, what
That's yeah, because these two fields don't there is a field called computer linguistics, That's when you work with machine learning and languages. But I didn't do that because I was really bad at maths.
Uh-huh.
I mean, really lousy. So at some point in life, I decided that I want to change something, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I got bored or tired or something. And I thought, okay, software seems like a very interesting field to try out. And well, maybe several years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you had to be an engineer, right, to be a software developer.
Right.
Well, as a rule, right? And now, with all the abundance of materials, of videos, of courses, books, right, guides, you can documentation, you can do that on your own. You're not going to be an engineer, but you can become a software developer,
Yeah.
right, without a degree in engineering. And some of my good friends actually became super cool software engineers, like senior engineers, but they made themselves, right? So they never went to the university.
Yeah.
So that's the dedication. And so, yeah, I decided to learn Java because, well, first of all, going to software, that's kind of the same as working with languages because that's just a language that you learn.
Right.
And I know how to learn a language, right?
Right.
Obviously. So, and I have decided on Java because, well, at that time it was considered the most popular language. That was 5 or 6 years ago, and it still is one of the most popular, right?
Yeah. Top three.
Yeah, and I like that might sound weird, but I like the discipline that Java teaches you
Yeah.
to follow. Right? It's for me, it's like with the German language, and I love German language.
Ah, that's a
Yeah,
very
and this
interesting
discipline,
comparison.
that's the same. Yeah, everything is on its places, right? So and everything should be like following the rules, right? So not like with Python, right? So if you use this variable, you're using this, well, kind of like
Right.
integer
Right.
or something. So
That's very, very true comparison. A strong types. Yeah. I mean, for people who are watching and maybe don't know, the German language is they have a case system, and so in addition to verb tense, you've got a case system. So you might say that the it's almost is it true that you could like put the words of a German sentence in a bowl, shake up the bowl, and then dump them out and still have the same sentence, basically,
no,
right?
of course not. No. I mean, every word in a German sentence has its place,
Hmm.
right? And it doesn't shift anywhere, right? So it goes onto this dedicated space, and I love that. I mean, you have the article, like there, so
Yeah.
there, die das, and then there is a noun,
Mm.
and between the article and the noun, there can be a whole a lot of adjectives or adverbs and describing this noun, but there's always this frame. So Germans love the frames,
Right.
right? So, and like the past tense, there is part of the auxiliary verb stays on the second place, and the verb always goes to the second place,
Okay.
right? So like I have gone, ich bin gegangen, ich bin stays on the second place, and the this gone part, right, participle, gegangen, goes to the end of the sentence, and the end can be very, very far away on the page. That's the most difficult thing about translating simultaneously German language,
Right.
because
Wait.
the verb is somewhere there, and you have to make a prediction, or the negation is somewhere there, and you have to predict. And if you predict it wrongly, you have to say like correction. That's
Yeah.
and something entirely different.
What? So, but if you are if you have a sentence, because you have a case system, right? So you decline the nouns, right?
Yeah.
So the noun, does the noun change spelling based on whether you're going to it versus coming from it versus in it versus under it?
Well, there are in the noun, it's not that in a noun you can change the ending, right? Sometimes the ending changes, not always. But the worst thing happens to the articles, right, and to the adjectives.
Yeah.
So they change well, they change,
Right.
right? So there, that's just, well, who, and then whose, it's like des, and
Yeah.
then and after that the end of the adjective changes to n, not to s, right? So, and yeah, you have to remember all of that stuff. But I love that about it, because
Yeah.
English is difficult because there are
There's
no
no
rules.
rules.
I mean, there are rules,
Yeah.
but there are more exceptions than rules.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I'm saying. So in German, you have conjugation of verbs, you have declination of nouns, you have tense, you
Hmm.
have subject and verb accordance. There's a lot of rules that guarantee that you get the right result.
Yes,
Whereas with Python and English, you're kind of hoping that if you put things in the right place, it
yeah,
sort of works. But there's no guarantees. There's no compiler.
exactly,
You know.
exactly. That's a very good comparison, Josh. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I okay. So you started working in.
So,
You just
yeah.
started learning software. That's so.
Yeah. So I started learning Java, and I started writing some pet projects step by step,
Mhm.
and then I worked for some time as a junior developer, but for a very short time, because then I went to Bellsoft, and in Bellsoft they wanted a tech writer. First, I didn't become a developer advocate at Bellsoft right away,
Right.
so they needed a writer. And then at some point I thought, okay, I love writing, so I like writing code, but I also love writing texts, and I'm good at it. So why not combine these two? Right? And that was a genius idea. Well, it seemed to me a genius idea. And I never actually regretted that. And I started then, I quit the junior developer job,
Right.
and I started as a tech writer at Bellsoft. And of course, you had to, I loved it because you had to learn about different stuff, right? So when you work as a developer, especially at some huge enterprise, you have your piece of code, you're working on that,
Yeah.
right? And you may never, well, sometimes you can, but sometimes you don't even leave the boundaries of your code. And when you're a writer, you have different topics. This week it's Java FX. Next week it's Growl VM.
Yeah.
Next week it's garbage collectors. And then you have to, well, study the
That
subject, of course,
that's
right?
why you're such a genius. That you just now I understand why I'm such a big fan. You do these videos on the Java JDK details, which is very low level, right? I'm an app developer. Me, I spend my whole world in the world of Spring, right? I see that there's this thing that supports Spring. I need that thing. It's called the JDK and the Java runtime, and I understand a lot about it, but I'm not smart enough to really dig into it. And then above, like above my app, there is something even, or maybe even below the JDK, there's even something even more low level, like a container orchestrator, like Kubernetes or whatever. And there's layers, right? But me,
Mhm.
I spend my entire time in that happy, squishy, wonderful world of app development. So to watch your videos, some weeks you're up here, some weeks you're down there, and you just do it so naturally. It's really, really great to watch.
Yeah, and I really love this flow, right? Because and you always learn something new. You're flexible, and there's always some themes that come up. And at some point, being at Bellsoft, the tech writer,
Right.
my colleagues said, "Okay, we are partners with Spring. Why don't you write articles on Spring development?" And as I loved Spring at that time, I loved Spring, of course. I thought, "Oh my God, yes, of course, yes." And I started writing them under my own name, so as Catherine Edelveis. So I became the author, And I started the Twitter account. Never actually had Twitter account, never in my life. And then I understood that I want to be a developer advocate, because I think that is a very well, usually people come into developer advocacy being a senior engineer or having a huge experience in engineering or in software development. But me, I'm somewhere on the middle level, maybe as a developer, but I don't think it's really that important. Important is that you want to share the knowledge that you have with the other developers, right? And if there is some new cool feature or topic, you explore it, and then again you communicate, right? So you write an article, you write a guide, you create a video, so you are trying to be useful. So developer advocacy for me is this being useful to the community, right? And and I thought that that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm doing, I guess.
That's a very interesting way to put it. I couldn't agree more. So I was talking to somebody, maybe it was on stream, I don't remember, but recently I was talking to somebody about what makes a Java champion. And I think a lot of people would be very surprised to learn that it's as much a function of your ability to be a teacher and advocate as it is your ability to wield and use and deploy Java. There are, in fact, maybe it's even more so a function of your ability to advocate for Java than it is a function of your ability to use it. Because we even have Java champions that don't know how to write Java, right?
Mhm.
But they have done big things to help advance the state of the Java
Yeah,
community.
exactly.
And also, I think what you just hit upon is very, very interesting. A lot of people, I started technically as a senior. When I joined the Spring team, I was a senior engineer. I had already been a CTO. I had started up a company. I had worked in team lead status. I'd done all that, but I was not prepared at all for being an advocate. Right? Those people do not. They didn't. I mean, it's not bad to understand software, obviously, but I imagine I would be much more successful had I cultivated even more skill around language and communication and so on. And to your point, I do speak multiple languages. I think that actually gave me some advantage. So maybe if I had started 5 years earlier let me see, I had 8 years industry experience before I started working on the Spring team as an advocate, which technically that's senior, but
Yeah.
but yeah, that was 2010 when I joined. So since then I have not gotten very good at this stuff because it's a very different set of skills. I don't know. I think people don't understand. There's the best. Actually, I would even go so far as to turn it around. The most senior engineers are those that can do advocacy, because you have to have, like, what is a CTO, right? A CTO is the chief advocate for a company's technologies to business, right? Communication skills are actually, they set you apart. Years of history writing code and being an engineer don't make you senior as much as I think also being able to articulate and communicate and collaborate does. It's a very, very interesting thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. So you can be a super cool, brilliant developer, right? You can be a genius, but you may lack the skills, right? And you may not be able to communicate your thoughts or your experience to others because you don't know how to explain, right? So
Right.
how to be a mentor, a teacher, or something. So I think the fact that I used to also work as a teacher, well, private tutor, right? So not a school teacher, and I was good at it. And this experience helped me with my text because I know how to explain, right? I know that when you write a guide, it has to be very detailed, right? So you have to explain stuff, and senior developers sometimes don't see that, so they think, okay, that is known to everybody and everybody knows that, I'm not going
Mm.
to specify that. And then you see step A, draw the circle, then step B, draw the rest of the owl.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah,
okay,
that meme. Uh,
yeah, no, and that doesn't work. But what works is that you can communicate, you can teach, right? You can explain, right? Explaining, that's the key. So, and well, again, I love working for Bellsoft because the engineering team does a lot, tremendous work in different fields, and you are never um, you're never bored, right? So every time it's a new topic, right? So we developed a Linux, right? 2 years ago, we developed Linux, Alpaquito Linux, right? Okay, now I'm learning about Linux.
uh,
So kind of like that, right? So Graal VM native image. Okay, I'm learning about native images,
yeah.
and it's always like that.
I love
So
that.
they are on the edge, yeah. And you with developer advocacy also always stay on the cutting edge, right? Of Spring, right? You always know what's new in Spring, right? So what's shaking, and that's cool. So you're never somewhere in your shell, right?
Right.
With Spring 2.3, I don't know, or something, right? So there's always something new, and you know about that, and you learn about that, right? And you communicate about that to the rest of the world, and I think that's beautiful. That's
Ah,
what it is.
it's a very so actually did this turn into a developer advocacy live stream? Because if it did, then I'm happy. That's a good use of time. I really think people should learn to to do this kind of stuff. I think every organization that has software that people connect to as software engineers, I mean SaaS, right? Software as a service.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
everywhere. Everybody's doing software as a service now. You have to build a useful service today, right? Even if you're building a CRM, if you're building, I don't know, whatever you're building, there's probably also an API component to it that you make available publicly. And as soon as you do that, you need a developer advocate, right? It's a very useful skill to have, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how you teach that. Maybe you should start a school. And then I can come give a 101 class or something.
We actually thought about that, creating some course for Spring Academy, right? So with Spring Builders,
Yeah,
right? So there is a thought. It's still a thought. It's still an idea. What we can contribute to, because we provide JDK, right? So we provide containers, so we know stuff about containers, I guess. So maybe that could be something related to deployment, right? More rather than development. I don't know. Not sure yet.
it's super
That
good.
would be cool.
I really enjoyed working with you and the team because, so I get occasionally, most rarely, I get these like bugs, um, and they're not. I mean, it's not very common that you find a bug in the JDK, right? Or you hit a bug. Usually, by the time I have found a bug, somebody else already reported it somewhere, right? And
Right.
and there might even be a workaround. So I go to you or the team at Liberica, and I ask a lot of times, what about this or that, and oh yeah, well this was found. Here's the work. It's just a really great experience working with such a knowledgeable group of people that are always on top of the latest and greatest. Um,
Yeah.
what is the what do you think you're going to speak about at Spring IO?
Right. So the topic that I have chosen, if it's elected,
Oh,
is reducing Java startup, or Spring Boot startup in this case. So we know that our favorite Spring Boot apps can start in several seconds, right? And we want it to start like that. Yeah. And there are several ways of reducing the startup time. So one of them is Crack, that we already discussed. The other is Native Image. Then there is AppCDS. And then there is going to be Project Layden, right? And the first JAP will be introduced in JDK 24. So the initial steps of Project Layden are going to be already in JDK 24, and we can use them. So it's called the AOT cache, right? So it builds upon AppCDS, right? But creates this AOT cache of classes, initialized and linked, and is going to give even better startup than with the AppCDS. I actually had the tutorial on using these early access builds on YouTube. Right. So somebody can follow along, somebody of our audience if they want.
Right.
And they will already be prepared for it when they download their JDK 24 builds, right? They will already know how to use this excellent feature.
AOT. It's even better than it's even better than the AppCDS stuff, like you say.
Yes. Yeah. So
And
it goes further. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
send me a link to another video. Oh,
Yeah. So this one is about how to use this feature with JDK 24.
aha! This is going to be great.
Yeah.
We did a. Here you go. Watch that video, people. Not right now. Just wait until this is done. We're almost there. We're almost there. But watch it. And the AOT stuff is getting better. That's part of the Layden initiative, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, so what we have with native image that's also AOT, but there might be some issues that you have to resolve, right, to befriend your application with native image, and with Layden they take it step by step, right? So the purpose is to enable greater flexibility in choosing which optimizations you want to enable for your application. And that's why Layden is going to be compatible with the broad range of applications, right? Because you can choose here. The goal of the project is to give the developers the opportunity to create fully static native images, right? But if you can do that, you can do that. But again, you can choose, right, the optimizations that you want to apply, and then the results going to be different. But yeah, that's cool. So this AOT cache, it is compatible with any application, right? So anything, and you don't have to change anything in your application code. And that's cool, right?
super good. Yeah,
Yeah.
the AOT stuff is one of the big things coming in Java 24, building upon already the amazing success of AppCDS and improving it. I think we did some internal comparisons last year, and we talked about. I think Sebastian,
yeah.
who's on our team, he talked about. And I even looked at the Layden stuff, and it was sort of like not Layden. I looked at the AppCDS stuff. So we had Jerry plus the AOT stuff in Spring. So Jerry is the slowest. Jerry plus AOT slightly faster. Then I guess AppCDS was like half of the performance of Jerry, and then below that was GraalVM at like a 10th, and then below that was Crack at like 1/20th or something like that, right? So if it took a second for a full Jerry app, it took 50 milliseconds.
Yeah.
For Crack.
Yeah.
And then now that ranking I did last year would be different because we have the AOT stuff, which is like a quarter, of the full time. It's like 250 instead of taking 500 milliseconds with AppCDS or something. It's like a 250 or something. It's huge. It's just free performance. You just upgrade. And then the other thing is, speaking of bugs that I hit over the holidays, right before the holidays in December, I found a weird bug with Apple Silicon M4 plus Java on build packs, and it was anyway, that bug, super weird. I think it's just the Apple Silicon thing and Java. Anyway, it's been fixed in Java 24. And I only found that out because of the I think it was Liberica, that the team there. So Java 24 is a good release. It's going to fix. There's a small bug that makes build packs untenable for Apple Silicon and M4. M3 is fine, and if using Java 17, I think it's fine. It's just Java 20, 21, 22, 23.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah.
Just
So that's for that's the advantage of upgrading, right? The JDK version, the Spring version, you always get the latest and greatest features. But sometimes you can't upgrade, right? So there's an enterprise project on Java 8 still, right? And of course the performance is going to be worse, right, than with the newer Java versions. But by the way, Bellsoft has a special product, so we covered this situation too. And we have Liberica JDK Performance Edition. So it couples JDK 8 or JDK 11 with JVM 17. And in Spring is going to be also JVM 21. So that means that you don't have to rewrite your code, right? You don't have refactor, because when you upgrade to the newer version, sometimes code may break, right? And you have to also change the library versions, and that's hell on earth, right? But with the Performance Edition, you simply use this Java, right? So bundle, and you get the performance of the JVM from 17, right? So you stay on JDK 8, right? It's still JDK 8, Java 8, but the performance is from JVM 17. How cool is that? Oh, Josh, you're on mute.
so good, so good. Yeah. Sorry about that. I was typing a response to a message, and I was listening. Oh, that's super good. Okay, well, this is the kind of stuff I'm really excited about. Java 24 comes out in like a month or something like that, right?
Yeah. In a month. And then there's going to be Java 25, which is an LTS release, so that's also kind of huge. And Java turns 30 this year. Oh my god, right? 30 years.
30 years.
Still going strong.
It's still awesome. It's getting better and better. Actually, the Java today is far more interesting than the Java of 15 years ago. What's in Java 25? I don't even know. I've been looking at Java 24. You got
well, there's still no list of JAPs as far as I remember. Last time I checked. So, but I'm going. Yeah, so the JAP page is empty. But as soon as there's some information, I'm going to post that and tweet that and then write an article and stuff like that.
This is awesome. This gets us to our, as we always do at the end of the discussion. Since you're going to post this stuff, are you on the internet? Do you want to be found? And if so, where do people find you?
So I'll just send you a couple of links. So mainly I write to the Bellsoft blog, right? So that's my main platform. And then there's a Medium page where I wrote also some articles on Spring Boot. Just a sec. Although I didn't actually have time to write anything else there, which is a shame, but still. And of course, you can connect with me on Twitter, right? And stay in touch, right? Stay in touch. And so I'm trying to post news on the latest articles, videos, anything, news, Java news, Spring news there. So yeah.
Post that. There's the Medium page, and definitely go check that out. And then this is so I knew about the blog, and I knew about your X account here. Are you going to join us on Blue Sky as well?
Yeah, I am already there.
Okay, that's a nice.
Right. Yeah. So I guess I should post there more because I registered and I forget about that constantly. I mean, really, I should be more kind of dedicated.
If you just started your X account last year or recently, then you have a good chance to catch up. And I have found that Blue Sky, the engagement, I have a very small audience there, very small, but the engagement seems to be about as good. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'll get hundreds of interactions on a post there for the same thing that gets hundreds on X, where I have many times more followers. So Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's my Blue Sky profile, and I promise that I'll post there too. Right. So I make a promise.
Okay. Awesome. Catherine, it was really, really great to talk to you. Thank you for
Yeah.
staying up so late.
Well, thank you for inviting me. That was a pleasure.
My
Really.
pleasure. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Have a good day. Oh, here's a blue sky. I forgot the blue sky. Wait. Don't have a good day yet. Wait.
Not yet, guys. Not yet, guys. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can have a good day.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye, bye, guys. Bye.